What is going on, everybody? So as you guys know, I love doing these little analysis things and trying to take a different viewpoint on a lot of the same iPhones that we all have and we've all used. And the reason I do it is just because it's really fun and it kind of gives you a little bit of a different viewpoint. And I really, I've covered a lot of topics, which one is the best priced iPhone, all these things. And one thing I wanted to see was which iPhone pretty much has the most problems in 2018. Which phone out of all the iPhones right now that are currently supported, even that are unsupported, are talked about the most and people are, venting their problems with. I want to preface this whole thing by saying I don't have the actual data from Apple. So I don't have, all the reports of people bringing in their iPhones because Apple doesn't make that viable or available to the public. So that's all like on the back end. They keep it secure in their servers. So we don't have any data of people who bring in their iPhones to the Apple stores, which iPhone is taken to the Apple store the most. But I took a different approach. I went on online forums, more specifically Reddit. And I only went on Reddit. I don't know why I said online forums like we're in like 2006. But I went on Reddit and I went to the iPhone and I looked at the titles and the descriptions and I went to see which iPhone people were having the most problems with. Now, this isn't 100% accurate. This isn't 100%, to dictate if this is actually true. It could very well that my findings were wrong. But again, I don't have that data from Apple. So this is the only way I could have gone through it. And so I went through and I saw a lot. I'll tell you right now, the iPhone 5S and the iPhone SE were two phones that surprisingly really had not that many problems or not that many people venting their problems in 2018, which is pretty surprising. But at the same time, it's not because that's a pretty familiar design. And I guess I'll go ahead and show you my findings right now. So basically, I went through all of Reddit and it only let me go so far. So I had to go through and like look at every single post. And every time there was someone like saying, oh, my iPhone 6S has this problem, my iPhone 8 has this problem, I docked it, I made an Excel sheet about it. And I went through several posts and I went through a couple pages before Reddit didn't let me go any further. And I felt like I had a pretty nice pool of data that I could go and like kind of sift through. And like I said, the 5S and the SE had the least amount of problems I could find. I combined the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus, the 6 Plus, and iPhone 7, 7 Plus, and 8 and 8 Plus. I didn't make it into separate categories, and the pool of phones that had the most problems were the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, which is pretty surprising, and at the same time, it's not really surprising either. Now, the main surprising point that I found about all the iPhones were that it was mostly software-related bugs that I found. So with like, let's say some people were like, oh, my iPhone 6 FaceTime isn't working or something like that. That was more so of a software problem. But what I found with the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus was that it was mostly hardware problems that people were having. They were saying my home button doesn't work, the vibration motor doesn't work, the cameras are being weird, the screen is glitching up, this and that. I found that to be mostly hardware problems, which is very, very interesting, and it really doesn't make Apple look good or the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus look good either, because they took a different approach. They removed the headphone jack and they put in a new home button, and that in and of itself could cause a lot of problems too. And I think that's why my iPhone 7 Plus, out of all the iPhones that I have right now, my iPhone 7 has the most problems. I'm always having problems with it. It's always glitching up, and I think that has a lot to do with either the home button or the other problems associated with the specific iPhone 7. And I already made a whole separate video talking about that too. If you guys want to check it out, go look at it. But I find it really weird that this specific phone has this many problems. The second runner-up were the iPhone 6 and 6S. The iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, as you know, had a lot of problems too, but I think all those problems were pretty much taken care of. I mean, there's Bendgate and stuff still exists, but I think people are more aware of those problems. But with the iPhone 7, I'm surprised. I mean, it just seems like there's not one specific problem wrong with it. It seemed like there were a lot of different areas. It was mostly to do with the home button, I believe. And I did add in if people were saying, oh, my iPhone 6 is extremely slow, it's glitching up, this and that. I did add that in this pool of data as well. But even that, I mean, we're talking, at the same amount of posts that I went through, it wasn't even an iPhone 7 subreddit, it was just the iPhone subreddit. It was just surprising to me that these many people were complaining about the iPhone 7. And in reality, the iPhone 7 wasn't even the most sold iPhone, so it's not even that more people have an iPhone 7 versus like an iPhone 6. The iPhone 6 and 6 Plus were the most sold iPhone ever, so I find that even weird. It could have been very well that more people had an iPhone 7 and more people complained about it, and that would make perfect sense, because then let's say there was 1,000 iPhone 7 sold and 1% complain about it, that's about 10 people complaining, so that makes sense, right? But if there's only 100 people that bought an iPhone 6 and 1% complain about it, that's only one person, right? But no, this is not the case like that. There are actually more iPhone 6 and 6 Pluses sold than the iPhone 7. And another thing that really surprised me, that overall there were more iPhone 10 complaints than iPhone 8 complaints. And it was weird because I was expecting more iPhone 10 problems with this too. I was expecting more problems with the iPhone 10 because of the new design, gestures, all this stuff, Face ID. I was expecting those to be problems, but in fact it was the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, which is so strange. Am I saying to ditch your iPhone 7 and get a different phone? I'm not saying that. I'm just making it more aware to people that, yes, there are problems with every single iPhone. There's problems with every single phone, but it seems like there's an outlier, and it seems like the iPhone 7 does seem to have more problems overall associated with it than any other iPhone right now, and I can totally attest to that. Like I said, my iPhone 7 does have a lot of problems with it, and hopefully Apple addresses some of these issues too. I think a lot of people were complaining about no service issues, so if somebody from Apple is watching this, or if somebody knows somebody from Apple, I don't know, I would definitely look into that. Hopefully Apple can go and fix these problems so less and less people complain about it. And if you guys want me to do another type of comparison like this, like next year in a couple months, let me know. I mean, I love doing these things. And if you guys want to see a difference app analysis, leave it down in the comment section too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I still have love for the iPhone 7. If you have an iPhone 7, I still love you. Don't get it twisted. But hopefully Apple fixes these problems. But if you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section below. Whether you agree with me or disagree with my analysis, you can leave it down. I'd love to hear your opinion. Hit that like button, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count. I'm trying to get to 100 by the end of this year, and it would mean so much if you guys could hit that subscribe button. But also check out my second channel, Lo-Fi Alpaca. The link to that is also in the description, so go subscribe to that. Do make me feel better. Check out the other links down there too, my Instagram, my Twitter. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. And hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.